Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy.
Obviously, you talked about kind of Lamar, your confidence in
Football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hey, everybody, how's it going? How are you doing? Welcome aboard. The future's so bright, I need some shades. Hey, here's a pair. Looky here. How are you doing? Hope you're getting out today, enjoying the sunshine, warmer temperatures. The snow is creeping backwards. And I hope all is well. There we go. Beautiful day out there. What's the high going to be today? It's going to it's not. Yesterday got up to 65. We got a little spoiled. Today, big 20-degree swing, man. Only a high of 45 expected, but the sun's out, and that snow is just quickly receding. But the best part is, I thought that we were just going to have this big soppy mess, but I think that's coming this weekend. As looking ahead a little bit, Saturday and Sunday, only 15% chance on Saturday. The high of 54, and then Sunday 59%. Little rain, 57. This it's gone, baby. The snow is gone. It's going to be gone. I see 63 coming up. Yes. How about that? That's a nice February. Can't complain about that. And certainly can't complain about being here with you today. As always, love it. Appreciate you for joining us. Hope your week is going well. You've made it to the halfway point. It's all downhill from here. Dylan Sinn will join me. Cal Neddenriep, and Bill Bender. Good friend Bill. Plenty to talk about. We'll hear from Coach DeVries and the boys. Indiana doesn't play again until this weekend. They have the week off, basically. Spoke with Yasir Rosemond briefly when Oregon was here. He is on Dana Altman's staff, doing well. Super nice guy. Really is. I hate that he kind of gets painted with the Archie and the Woodson brush. I mean, you can't blame him. It's a great gig. I wouldn't have given it up either. But he's certainly landed in a great spot. We know how much respect that Darren DeVries has for Dana Altman. So he talked about it, as a matter of fact. The other night after the game, that he gave him his start in the sport. So, yeah, you don't forget that. Yeah, Justin said that I had too. That totally forgot that it's where he landed, as did I. Oh, that's right. He wasn't on Archie's staff. Kenya Hunter was on both. That's right. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that. But yeah, Sam Alexis. Man, that dude is doing the job for Indiana basketball right now. He's like 23 of his last 24. Dude's on fire. En fuego. How's everybody doing? Hope you're great. James says, how about those Pacers? Wait, what? What the heck? Pacers, you can't have the Pacers winning. That's something now that you just can't do. I mean, I'm kind of joking, but not. Wemby, he hit 40. LeBron sits out, of course. Let's see, the Pacers 137 to 134 over the New York Knicks in New York in overtime. Man, don't be doing that. Don't be messing with your draft pick possibilities, man. Andrew Nembhard, 24 points, 10 assists. Ooh, Brunson went off for 40 for New York. But the Pacers get the win. What are they now? I can't count it up. 14 and 40. Of course, they're last in the conference. Sacramento is 12 and 43 over in the Western Conference. Indiana actually tied with Washington in the East, and Brooklyn is right there at 15. So there's a group of 3 in this conference alone. And then you look over here at Sacramento. There's 12 and 43. New Orleans is 15 and 40. Utah Jazz, 17 wins, and Dallas Mavericks, 19. How'd that trade for Luka Doncic work out? Goofballs. And Mark Cuban's, that's not his deal anymore. Don't forget. He's just a minority owner. But yeah, big win by the Pacers. Man, winning on the road, period, in the NBA is a true treat. Going to New York and doing it. That snapped a 4-game losing streak, so they've been keeping things going. Pascal Siakam had 30, Nembhard 24, 10 assists. As they hold off the New York Knicks 137-134 in overtime. Like I said, the Pacers scored the first 9 points of overtime, then overcame a furious Knicks run over the final 24 seconds, during which they scored 8 points in 20 seconds. 8 points in 20 seconds. That's exactly what the NBA wants, man. They want those games to be able to go down every time. And they're able to do that. So, tell that. Another big game in the Big Ten last night. Purdue and Lincoln to take on the Cornhuskers. And Purdue had I believe, a 22-point lead. And just like Indiana did, coughed it up. Nebraska came all the way back, had a chance to win it, but at least force overtime. But Purdue is able to hold on and get that huge win for Purdue. I mean, that's big. That's a seed win for Purdue. And what I mean by that, when the tournament comes around, yeah, that can matter for bumping them up a seed line, which where they are matters because they're going to be up in that 3-4 seed line area. So the higher up you can get, the better it is. Indiana, there's not much they can do. They're in the 9, 10, 11 seed group, in my opinion. And that's where they're going to stay. The only thing they can do is move up or down. I don't know that that's to their benefit, to be honest with you. Being 11 might be better because if you get up to that 9 area, your second game is against the number 1 seed. So this is one where being an 11 seed would be better. 10 seed, you get the number 2 team, but hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? You got to play who you got to play. Right now, the Big Ten standings after last night's game for the Boilermakers bumped them up to 3rd in the conference, tied with Nebraska and Michigan State, all at 10-3. They're both, but all 3 are 2 games back of first place Michigan. The Illini, of course, in second place at 11-3. Game and a half back. The Illini are 5-4 against AP teams. It's amazing that they're not a little bit better than that. Purdue is 4-2 right now. Nebraska 2-3. Ironic. I mean, they were the highest ranked team in the Big Ten. They no longer are. Michigan and Illinois are higher. But they have they're the only ranked Big Ten team that has a losing record against AP teams. AP ranked teams. Bold. What I'm trying to say. Looking down through here, Indiana is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Indiana has bumped himself up to 9th in the conference, which that is a good place to be. It is a successful place to be because that will land you in the tournament without question. Hope your day is off to a great start. We get it going. Dylan Sinn is going to join us next. We'll let's listen to a little Darren DeVries on the way out.
His confidence, essentially. But how have you seen him? I mean, I think he's shooting career highs in 2s. I think he's already attempted more free throws than he did either the last 2 seasons. Assist numbers are up, rebounds. How are you seeing him just kind of embrace kind of the all-around role of being this team's focal point?
Yeah. First, I want to first recognize the 76 team for being back and having so many of them back tonight. I thought that was great. A special night, for everyone, and had so many of them that were able to make it back. And obviously, Quinn Buckner's a big supporter of IU athletics, and that's a pretty cool event. So, but Lamar's he's pretty special. I told you that after our Wisconsin game that. He's one of those guys who's going to play this game for a long time, and you can see as he's gotten more comfortable with what we're doing, and we've challenged him with some things defensively, playmaking, creating. He's accepted those challenges and just took off with it, and now you're seeing kind of the full package of what he's able to do. He had a few extra ones out there I hadn't seen before that were pretty cool. So, that was as impressive of second half performance as I've seen.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave & Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our all-new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch all your team's wins on a 40-foot screen and 30 HD TVs. And level up with the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game. Private game suites, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave & Buster's on 731 South College Mall Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Wednesday. You made it through halfway, and it's all downhill from here. Jim Coyle with you as always. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette, also along for the ride, and a lot of court storming going on in college basketball right now, Dylan. The latest Miami, days after North Carolina fans stormed the court after beating Duke on a last-second three, which was a great game to watch. But now Miami turns around and knocks UNC off, so they've got to storm the court. North Carolina is ranked 11th, and they're 19-5, so what the hell are you storming the court about?
Miami has had a couple of very tough years in basketball. It hasn't been good there. Jim Larinaga just he wasn't able to adjust quite as well as they would have liked to the NIL era. And it's been a couple of down years for them after some really good ones. So that's their first signature win of the season. And so and of course, beating a blue blood in North Carolina is always special for them. So a lot of fun, good win for and a heck of a performance from Malik Renew, former Hoosier, who went toe-to-toe with a likely lottery pick in Caleb Wilson of North Carolina and got the best of him in that game, I thought. So really fun game, really fun to watch, and good for Malik, who's having a great season himself.
I was just going to say, he's having a pretty good year so far overall, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been terrific. He's one of the best players in the ACC this year, very, very efficient. Doing everything you need, their lead scorer. So he is their go-to guy in the post and is working really hard. And obviously for him, it's special because he is a Miami native. So really, really special for him to do that in his hometown. And a huge win for them last night.
Do you know of any schools that you cover that could have used a good guy in the post?
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah, me either. But man, if I thought hard enough, I bet I could find one. And it's a shame that that's the one thing I'm like, was there enough time taken to look, or was it just, it seems like when they made the change in coaches that there was never any intent on not just cleaning house. I mean, just completely. They cut ties with, I don't want to say cut ties, that's not correct. But Tim Garl, after 50 years, no longer with the program, and the managers. I think every manager, there's not a single manager back, I don't think. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. There's so many of them. But it just a clean sweep. So yeah.
Now, what I will say is that, it would be great for IU to have Malik Renew this year. He would have been a huge boost in that time of the season when they were struggling down low. But what we're seeing from Sam Alexis right now is pretty darn special. He has been like, as much as
23 of his last 24, Dylan.
Ridiculous, and doing it in ways that we haven't seen all season, right? Like, he has totally expanded his ability to score. Each of these last couple of games, he's made like a fadeaway 14-footer. It's like, where did that come from? Where was that all season? And then on top of that, he's working incredibly hard on the glass. He's helped them not be taken out on the boards over the last two games. And then on top of that, he's protecting the rim really well. Like he had 5 blocks in that game against Wisconsin. He's chasing guys down. He's blocking shots of guys who are 3, 4, 5 inches taller than him. And it's like, where did this come from? Like he's been a good player the whole year. Like he brings a lot of energy, and that's kind of his role. But he has really expanded his repertoire of things that he brings to this team over the last couple of weeks here. And that, as much as almost anything else, has been a key in Indiana really getting off the mat and finding a way to win 5 of their last 6. So really, really impressed with the work that he's doing. And as for as much as I think Reed Bailey is a decent player and can be a valuable piece of what this team does, I think Alexis deserves 25 minutes a game going forward, 28 minutes if he can do it, because he's just been so valuable in basically every area.
Oh, absolutely. And what he would have done. The thing is, you don't know how he would have mixed with this Indiana team, though, because their offense is so different. I don't watch Miami, but I don't know. Obviously, if he's having a great season, they run through the post a lot. That's not Indiana's game. So, not that they don't use the post. I just think that, boy, if you had him, that would have been a pretty good mix with the 3-point shooting this team has. But Alexis has done. Can you imagine having both of those guys?
Yeah.
Because they don't. It's not like they don't have the room or don't need the depth.
Absolutely. No, it would have been great to have. And I think that one of the things he improved on the most during his time at Indiana was his passing out of the post. So all those post entries where you could have had shooters kind of around the perimeter, just letting them go one-on-one every single time. Boy, it would have been really fun to watch. So no, I think that would have been great, and just unfortunately didn't work out. But if he was going to go to any other school, going home to Miami, I think is a great choice for him, and it's turned out so well. So really happy for him, honestly, as a guy who worked so hard when he was here.
Want to talk about the Charles Bediako case. The decision came down, and no, you're not eligible. My question now is, because there are quite a few coaches that they're not SEC coaches. They're not happy about the games that he played in. Texas A&M, for example, lost by 3 in overtime a game, and they're like, "Wait a minute, you're letting this guy play?" And I asked that, and I'm wondering about that very thing. When you know his eligibility is in question and it's coming up, you don't play. You just don't do it. And so, therefore, those games should be forfeited, in my opinion. You purposely used a guy. You were trying to scam the system, first of all, and you used him in games. I couldn't believe that. I really couldn't. But I should, because they probably figured, what are they going to do to us?
Yeah. No, I do think part of it is that I think there was part of the court order saying that he was allowed to play also barred originally, because there was the original court order that said until we figure this out, he is eligible to play. And that court order, I believe,
should have been that should have been a caveat, but I'm sorry.
Right, exactly. Like that's right. Like, and so that was what the court originally decided was until we figure this out, he can play. I think if I might be mistaken about this, I haven't done a deep dive into it, but I'm pretty sure that in that original court order there was some kind of basically addendum to this court order where it said, hey, the NCAA is not allowed per this court order to adversely affect Alabama for games that he plays in. Right. Like, so they are literally barred legally from vacating those wins. Now they only went 3-2 when he was playing. So they also lost a couple of games. It's not like they were a terror when he was playing. But I do think it is interesting to kind of see how the selection committee especially will view the way this team has played while he's been out there versus when he's not. Because what they've kind of come out and said is we're going to judge them by the roster they have now. So that means that they will not totally disregard what he did during those games or what they did during those games where he played, but they are certainly going to take a hard look at how Alabama finishes this season over the next couple of weeks and see, hey, is this team totally different when he's not out there? Are they capable of winning high-level games when he's not out there? Because they won some high-level games early in the year before he was there, but are you still able to do that now, right? And so I think that Alabama needs to finish this season strong to convince the committee that it isn't just, well, he's not there anymore and we're a totally different team.
Yeah, and that's something that they'll have to deal with. I think that Sankey will probably not do anything. It'll just be left there and say, hey, just be quiet. They would probably like to see this just go away. But I do blame Alabama for that. That is just, and the coaches should blame. You know what? If I love what Dabo Swinney did with Ole Miss and Pete Golding. Call him out. Kurt Cignetti didn't do that. He said, "Yeah, we've got players that have been being tampered with." Blah blah. Call them out. You have the biggest megaphone in college football right now. Call their ass out.
Yeah. No, I think
name names. Names.
And I do think that was with the Clemson thing, especially with Dabo. What they did was they not only named names, they came prepared with like a whole list. All right, here is exactly what text message was sent at what time and what was said in it, right? And so they had a whole presentation prepared about how exactly Ole Miss broke like black letter law. Like this is not legal under NCAA and College Sports Commission bylaw. You're not allowed to do this. Here's exactly what they did. So they didn't just say, well, so-and-so tampered, and that's kind of not actionable. They laid out in exact detail the rules that Ole Miss was breaking. And so I thought that was really, really good on Dabo's part. Now, part of it is possibly that if you're not doing that, you might be losing. Dabo seems like he's kind of losing right now. And so it's like maybe Cincinnati doesn't want to. I'm not saying that Indiana is breaking rules like that, but like most teams are probably doing some level of tampering. And so the problem is it goes back to that whole thing is if everyone's cheating, then is it really cheating? Then what is the play for you who wants to be clean, right? And so that's been college football and college sports for years. And people are just going to keep pushing the envelope until something breaks, until someone pushes back against them. And so Dabo's trying, but we'll have to see whether that anything comes of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like will the Bediako case, will that be the beginning of some change, or not even necessarily change, but to stop certain things? But will it cause a positive effect in college sports, the beginning because there seem to be no guardrails, and hopefully this is a beginning, but I'm not sure, because you turn right around, right on the heels of that, then Montana linebacker Tuli Papupu granted a 9th year of eligibility by the NCAA in the 2026 season, which I don't know how in the world that can possibly be happen. What about their own 5-year window?
Yeah,
out the window.
Well, the exception to the window has always been medical red shirts, right? I think he has at least several of those, and then the COVID year on top of that, so which always added a year to it. So that's probably how we got to 9. The difference between the Montana kid and Bediako is that Bediako and Alabama and Bediako were breaking a black letter rule.
I get that. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this is a whole different deal. This is more like the Pavia and Aguiar, these extended eligibility cases.
And it's interesting because the Montana kid, the NCAA granted him a 9th year, right? They did not grant Pavia an extra year. They did not grant Aguilar an extra year. The Aguilar and Pavia are going to court to try to get more eligibility. Pavia did. Aguilar is currently in court because the NCAA said no. In the case of the Montana kid, the NCAA was like, yes, that makes sense. You have a case here, right? I think there is a difference there. That isn't one they're trying through the court. The NCAA was like, yeah, you know what? You've had a lot of injuries. You can just you can get one more year, and obviously again the COVID year on top of that as well.
Yeah, it may have sounded like that 5, but that is that is exactly the end of that name. I don't Solomon Tulia Pupu. I think that's how you say it. Tulia Pupu. But no, that is correct. Former Nebraska athletic director Bill Moos. Is it the Moors or the Moops? There are no Moops. It's Moors, you moron. Wrote in a book released this week that Scott Frost was not his first choice to be the Cornhuskers coach back in 2017, that he was ordered to undergo an evaluation for alcoholism, and that he looked into the possibility of Nebraska leaving the Big Ten and returning to the Big 12. So there's a reason to read that book. It's always fun to find out the Crab Creek Chronicles. Get out of here. That's funny. What a name that is. But yeah. So there you go. Yeah, a 9th year for that dude, but it's crazy. It will be nice when there's finally, if they do get to the 5-year thing, that should be it. I mean, no red shirts, no medical red shirts, no nothing. I mean, it should be able to be a hard and fast rule. You've got 5 years. You get to play all 5 years. Now, if they do that, though, that's going to destroy. You're going to have to, daggone it, asterisk all the records, because now you're complete. It's like a couple of years ago when the son of former IU coach. You know who I'm thinking of?
Mike Davis, his
when
son.
His son, that would have been a tragedy had he broken that scoring record of Pete Maravich's, who only played 3 freaking seasons, by the way, to be broken by a guy who played 5 full seasons. Anyway, I'm glad it didn't happen. So there's that. But yeah, we'll see. Hey, let's take a break. Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette with us. Plenty to talk about. I mentioned earlier, I saw Yasir Roseman the other night when Oregon was in town. Seems like he is doing well, landed in a great place. Oregon just stinks in basketball right now. I don't know how is that possible. Yeah, I mean, they're dead last in the Big Ten, Dylan. I just don't. How the hell Oregon has the most money? They've got money for days.
Yeah, I mean, they built their team around 2 returning all Big Ten players, and then both of those guys got hurt. Like the Jackson Shelstad's been out for the whole year or most of the year. Nate Biddle he played against IU, but he's been hurt for most of January. And so like you built your team around these 2 guys and they didn't play. It's hard. But also I'm just not sure how much they're investing in basketball compared to football, because football is still Knight's passion. He wants a title in football. So I assume that Oregon has plenty of money, but it is one of those things where the roster they put together it didn't come together in the way they would have hoped.
Chris says, great show as always, Jim. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you. What's my take on how much Sam Alexis' game has improved as the season progresses? He's definitely playing tough in the middle. You wish Bailey could learn some of that toughness. Yeah, Bailey is Bailey. I mean, he's ironic. He's weird. It's weird because that dude can handle the ball as well as any big man in college basketball, but he doesn't have a 3-point shot that I see. And that is, he doesn't have an inside game. So I'm like, he's very limited. But I agree.
He's missed so many shots around the rim. It's just like you get him the ball in good position, or he works himself into good position. He does all the work and he doesn't finish. It is really, it's tough because there are so many times where it's like, that's a really good play that he made and then he didn't finish the play.
Yeah, but the question is about Sam Alexis, actually. And no, it's tremendous. And that's what we've had to see for that team to improve. He, along with Nick Dorn, has come along in the season. And especially it was important because you saw Tucker DeVries, having that tough stretch. Nick Dorn kind of going through that himself right now, but Sam Alexis has quietly, because Lamar Wilkerson is hitting 40 points and 36 points and all this, the attention is taken off of him, but dude went 8 for 8 in his last game. He's 23 of his last 24. I mean, that's nuts. These are not layups and dunks either. So, and it gets good competition. It's Chris, it's of uber importance. It's one of the reasons why this team will make the NCAA tournament. And so his role is just critical because Indiana is too perimeter oriented, in my opinion, Dylan. They're everything is about the 3-point shot, although they were using the paint the other night pretty effectively. And that's as long as they're doing that, you don't necessarily need as much of a paint game, but the rebounding, they won the rebounding battle against Oregon, but that's something that has really bit them in the butt. But if they could just do a little bit better on the rebounding, man, this team could be a dangerous team in the tournament. Dylan, I've talked about, I don't expect to see them, make this big run. But what I wouldn't be shocked to see them become a Sweet 16 team, to see them knock somebody off in the second round, or potentially the first round, actually, because they're going to be a 9, 10, or 11 seed, 9 at best, a 9 only if they knock somebody off here on the way out through the regular season, Michigan State or someone like that. Otherwise, they're going to be probably a 10 seed, I'm guessing, which alleviates having to play the number 1 seed in the second game. And I can see them knocking somebody off in that second game if they get hot like they have been. And if everybody's firing on all cylinders, this team is dangerous.
No, it absolutely is. And that's a really good point, is that they are a team that is high variance, I think is the best way to put it. Is there are games that they're going to win. We said this all season. We said this before the season. There are games that they're going to win that they probably shouldn't just because they shoot the lights out in a given night. And there are games they're going to lose just because they go cold, right? And so they could upset someone in the second round in a 2-10 or a 1-9 game just by shooting the lights out. Or Lamar Wilkerson goes nuts the way he did the other night. So they are a high variance team. And when that variance hits toward the upper end of the curve there, they are a very, very good team, and they are a very good offensive team. And I think that part of that is that they create opportunities for themselves very, very well, right? There is sometimes shots aren't going to fall, but they've done a really good job for basically the last month here of creating good shots for themselves. And they did that early in the season. There was a little bit of a lull there where Darren DeVries said they weren't running their stuff the way they wanted to, and they've gotten back to it now, and they're running really good stuff. And so it's been really impressive to watch over the last month here.
Absolutely. Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette with me right now, as are you, and we're grateful for that. Thank you so much. Got lots more coming up. Hope you stick around. We're back with plenty more right after, eventually, right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HRV are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CRV Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Dave & Buster's Bloomington is the place to eat, drink, play, and watch. Enjoy half-price games every Sunday through Thursday, a new menu to dig into, and next-level upgrades like private game suites, the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave & Buster's Bloomington, 731 South College Mall Road.
Indiana football accomplished what no other team ever has. Big Ten, Rose Bowl, Peach Bowl, and CFP national champions. The Hoosiers have etched their name into the history books as the first 16-0 team in the modern era. A limited edition of only 5,000 commemorative national championship footballs has been released. 3 full panels embossed and stamped with every championship logo and fully licensed. Get your piece of history today at NICOsports.com. That's NICOsports.com. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Wednesday. You made it through the hardest part. It's all downhill from here, baby. Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette with me. And something that's been spreading like wildfire, Dylan, is the cancellation of bowl games, but none of these have been what you would call an important bowl game. These are the ones that nobody wants to go to be it was the Detroit Quick Lane Bowl. I don't even know what the hell it was when it just got canceled. I'll have to pull it up and look, but that one, there was, what was it, the Bahamas Bowl?
I didn't see that one. That's tough, because that is one people want to go to.
I don't know that was right. So I've got to get back over here, but the college football playoff and any expansion is kind of creating a vacuum of sorts. So the more expansion, the less need for these bowl games, because if you're in the CFP, you don't go anywhere else. So while that is not taking up a lot, because most of those teams would already have been playing in the Peach, the Orange, those big bowls, but it's still creating a vacuum. But I wonder, and I saw this yesterday, was it North Dakota State or South Dakota State? Just
North Dakota State is moving up for 2026. Yep.
Which, great program, but why are you moving into a neighborhood that you cannot afford? That's basically what they're doing. They're moving into a neighborhood that they cannot afford, because they will never, ever be able to compete against Ohio State, Indiana, Alabama, all of those teams, Texas A&M, Texas Tech. You're not ever going to compete against those teams to have a shot at the CFP.
Remember, so the G5 gets a bid. So
right,
I think
unless they get in that way. But is it worth it? You're competing against how many other teams for one stinking spot?
Yeah.
For one spot. And it's financially, it's not worth it. But you're going to continue to do what they do.
I think they believe that it is financially worth it to move up to the Mountain West, the new Mountain West is currently constituted. Because remember, there's a lot of the former Mountain West teams have moved into what is now the Pac-12, which is now a lower level conference. And so they're moving into the Mountain West. They feel probably they can win the Mountain West. And if you win a G5 conference, then you have a shot. at the playoff spot, right? And I think that
so you're telling me there's a chance we're going to
Well,
spend all this money and do all this, and just because there's a chance.
Well, hey, listen though.
I'm listening, brother. I always listen to you. You got the knowledge.
James Madison was FCS as recently as 4 years ago, and then they made the playoff this year. And so North Dakota State's like, hey, we were a better program down there than they were. No offense to James Madison, which was fantastic. But North Dakota State.
What else happened to James Madison? They lost Kurt Signetti and their entire team to Indiana. Then Bosby comes in. He rebuilds, does a great job. He's gone. You're just a feeder system is all you're going to be, and that's all that they would be.
Sure, but and now, in fairness, in FCS, they've lost, 3 head coaches to FBS over the last decade themselves. Like Craig Bohl went to Wyoming after winning a bunch of championships. Chris Kleiman won a bunch more and went to Kansas State. And then Matt Entz won a championship and then went to Fresno State. So they lost coaches already. Like they were already a feeder system. So that for them is no different. And they feel like, hey, if James Madison can do it, why can't we do it? I think. And so they've been successful for 15 years now as the dominant program at the top of that sport, not winning the championship every year, but they won 9 national titles in a 13-year span. It's like, all right, it's one of those things where maybe you look around, okay, what else is there for us to accomplish here? And the money in FBS is better, right? Like it's not in the lower level conferences like a Mountain West, like a Conference USA, the money isn't that much better. But it is better. And so if you can kind of sell your fan base on, hey, we're not going to win the national championship every year, but damn it, we might be in the playoff once every 5 years. Isn't that exciting? Then you probably make that move, right? And so the question for me will be, does South Dakota State follow them? Because South Dakota State has been kind of like the 1B program in FCS right next to them, and they're national rivals. Do they follow them? Because right now there's been no indication that they are, and it'd be weird for one of them to come but not the other. And so we'll have to see whether that happens as well.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it. Everybody wants to be where the big light, the bright lights are, but it's just getting tougher and tougher, and it just makes you wonder, is there not a line that should be drawn? We used to have Division I and Division I AA, Division I, Division 1A. Maybe it should be Division 1A, Division I AA like it used to be. And, those AA teams, it's like it's a slap in the face to them. I get that. But let's be real. You're not going to the CFP. I mean, that's like winning the lottery almost. Yeah, there are certain teams that might be, but there's only a certain group of teams out of all those teams that have a shot at that. And so why not create a division that you can actually compete in, which is where they already were. But what they need is more of these teams to be added to that pot to make it more exciting, at least. I think that they possibly could, because we know there's great football being played by those teams. I mean, those South Dakota State, South Dakota, North Dakota State have always been good in football, ironically, as crazy as it is. Man, it's just, they've just been one of those. Kalen DeBoer came from up there. It was at an NAIA school.
Yeah.
Why is it that every school up there throws the ball like it's, the air raid offense? I mean, they're all chucking that thing everywhere. Ironically, I wouldn't think of the Dakotas as the pass happy place of America, but it is, man.
It is, and it's funny because you're absolutely right for the most part, but North Dakota State is almost the one exception because they're able to get some really, really good linemen, and so they run the heck out of the ball up there at North Dakota State. That's been their thing, except when they had Trey Lance. Aren't they
the Bison?
They are the Bison, yeah. And so they run that ball, and they that's how they won a lot of their national championships was with this power run game that it's really hard to develop at the FCS level because you're not really able to get linemen that are that talented that are able to do that. But North Dakota State has been able to. They were able to do that. That's why Chris Kleiman went from there to Kansas State and fit really seamlessly with what Kansas State wants to do because they want to run the ball too. And so It is one of those things where usually in FCS you got to throw it around because the offensive line isn't good enough to do a power run game and run for 300 yards a game. But North Dakota State, during that championship run they had, was one of the very, very few exceptions.
Well, and speaking of North Dakota State, great segue there. They are an FCS powerhouse that is making the move. They have finalized an agreement to join the Mountain West Conference in football only starting this upcoming season.
Yeah.
They will pay $12.5 million to join the conference, and the fee, in addition to $5 million, it will pay to the NCAA. You got to pay $5 million to the NCAA just to move up. That's like a stupid ghost bank charge that for no reason. But there's more money. $5 million. Well, you know what? I guess the NCAA needs it for. Honestly, now I think about it for a couple of seconds. They need the money for all the freaking trials they have to defend. That seriously, think of the money the NCAA has to pay in litigation because they have to fight all of these cases. I mean, that's just millions and millions and millions of dollars. That's another reason this has to be stopped. Millions of dollars are being wasted on legal fees on both sides. And I do hope that NCAA stems some of this because it's ridiculous. We got past the COVID stuff finally, all that extra year that's finally gone. Now there has to be a change made, and I kind of hate the 5-5, but I don't know why they can't set their own rule. Well, I do know, because they don't stick to it. They make stupid exceptions that has come back to bite them in the buttocks.
Yeah, and that was the reason they won the Bediako case, was because their rule they have stuck to forever. Like the rule is, if you are in college and you declare for the NBA draft, you are no longer eligible in college. That is the black letter rule that they have stuck to for decades. And Bediako declared he was in college at Alabama. He declared for the draft.
I don't mind if they come back. If you're not drafted and don't go to a team, I'm like, fine, come back. I don't care. But you can't go to a team and walk onto an NBA floor and play. No, you're done. You have ended your amateur status.
Yeah. And so the case that Alabama was making, the case that Nate Oates was making, which I don't really agree with, but the case they were making was, well, then how come all these European players get to come over and play? They've been playing professionally for 3 or 4 years, some of them. What is the difference between them and Charles Bediako? And the difference is the declaring for the draft. You played in college, you declared for the draft, you left. You made that decision yourself, right? You said, I am done with college, I am moving on. And if the NCAA wants to go ahead and say at some point, we'll make an exception where if you don't get drafted and you don't get signed to a team, you can come back after the fact. I'm fine with that. But the way the rule is written right now, Charles Bediako made his decision 2 years ago. Those Euros never went to college. They never declared for the draft. They just came over. They're still within all those Euros that are playing this year. None of those guys are 27 years old. They are within their 5-year window from when they graduated high school to come over to college, right? So there's a difference. There's a significant difference there that Alabama was trying to kind of paper over, and the judge didn't buy it. And I think that's the correct call for the judge not to buy it.
Absolutely. Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. Thank you, my friend, as always.
Absolutely, Jim. Thanks for having me on. As always, this has been great.
Fun day as always, brother. Appreciate you. Hey, we've got more coming up. Kyle Neddenriep going to break right now.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport Sport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave & Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our all-new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch all your team's wins on a 40-foot screen and 30 HD TVs. And level all up with the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game. Private game suites, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave & Buster's on 731 South College Mall Road.
Coaches drawing up plays, so, all that, contributes to what went on tonight.
I guess, Tucker, to follow up on that, when you have a teammate that you recognize is just sort of in that kind of rhythm, I know there's sort of the temptation to just feed them the ball whenever, but how within the flow of an offense do you keep a player like that just as comfortable as Lamar was tonight?
Yeah, when you got him going like that, it makes things really easy for everybody else too. But I think it started, when he hits 1 or 2, gets it going, then it starts with a couple more play calls for him, and then he hits a couple more, and then at that point it's probably just get out of the way and let him cook.
Get out of the way and let him cook, baby. Love that. That was Tucker DeVries talking about Lamar Wilkerson, who you heard in the opening part of that. But yeah, when he's on that heater, baby, just get out of the way and let him cook. I love that. That was funny. Yeah, he is a dog, man. He's fun to watch though when he gets in that zone. That's just a smooth. Jason says he wonders if the IU football team will be going to the White House. You know what? I wondered that earlier. I expect that they will be. And I'm excited because the media gets to cover that. And I will guarantee you that will be something I would cover and look forward to that. But I fully expect them because for a couple of reasons. Number one, the president was at the game. And Indiana is what you would call a red state. So I think that that would probably happen. We'll see. I can't remember how long it's usually, the thing is, it's getting all of those guys back together because the stars that are no longer with the team, they're all off preparing for the draft. They're all off training, getting ready for the next phase, all in different places. So that would be something to see. Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star joins me now. Kyle, was just talking about someone asked a question, will IU football be going to the White House? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I would fully expect that they would be. Have you ever covered a team that went to the White House?
I don't think so.
Well, wouldn't you remember if you went to the damn White House, Kyle? Dang.
I didn't go, but I don't think I've covered a team that has either.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Because I think that IU would be asked, and I'm pretty sure that they would go. It would just be, I was thinking about timing. How the hell are you going to get all those guys back together? Because, they're all off preparing for the draft, the ones that are the stars that are no longer with the team. And the draft comes up in what, April?
Yeah, you're kind of in a time crunch, I would think. I thought it used to happen like right after, so I don't know if that, maybe the timing of it wouldn't work out just because of that. But I always thought, like, I remember, um, well, when Georgetown won the national championship, I guess they were in Washington D.C., so that makes sense. It would happen right after. But yeah, I don't know about that.
5 says that I want to meet Melania. Hey, she's not bad. She's got a movie out about her, apparently. Jeff Bezos really getting in there. How's everything going for you, man? You're getting closer and closer to tournament time, but games are still being played. Some good ones, too.
Yeah, man. Last night I covered the Pike Mount Vernon game. Caitlin Clark was in the house to watch it, and it was one of the best games I've ever seen before. 33 pointers between the two teams. Mount Vernon had, and really coming into it, I was like, I don't know if Pike had 3 guys out with the flu, including Landon Lampley, who's phenomenal sophomore player. I hate to say this about a young kid, but to put pressure on him, but I think he's going to be a pro that when it's said and done. But Luke Ertl really, and
what year is he?
He's a sophomore. He's about 6'6", 6'7" in that area. But man, he's long. And
what's his name?
Landon Lampley. And his older brother Kenneth, who's a good player too. And Kenneth had a couple big shots last night late in that game. But yeah, Landon, he was out last night with the flu. Pike it's kind of running through the team. They had 2 other guys out with the flu also. And then Mount Vernon, their second best player, Max Weiss, was out with a sprained ankle. So, it was kind of like, well, how's this game going to go? Well, it was awesome. I mean, Mount Vernon made 19 threes and committed 4 turnovers and lost. So, it was an amazing shooting exhibition. And Pike ended up winning. It was a cool night. Obviously Caitlin Clark there, it adds another, no one really, she kind of came in and she left. It was funny. She left with her group there, and including her boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey. They kind of went out. You could kind of see get out of here before the crowd leaves. But the game was so good, they ducked back out of the hallway to watch from the end of the court. So
that's awesome.
It was a game you couldn't leave. But also Chris Thomas and David Teague, former Pike players from back in the day, about 25 years ago. They were there to be honored at halftime. And it's just a cool, to see the guys come back. Chris Thomas's son was wearing his Mr. Basketball jersey, and it was a really neat deal. And Chris obviously one of the true legends at Pike, and David Teague is too. But I talked to Jeff Teague about it a little bit after the game, and he said, I came to a game when I was, he would have probably been maybe. He was younger. He's in elementary school, and it came to a game at Pike and watched those guys play, that group play. And he's like, man, when I saw Chris Thomas play, it was like, that's the coolest guy ever. Basically what he said, I want to go to Pike to be like him. So it kind of shows you how the lineage, I always think that's a cool thing when the lineage kind of gets passed down. And, definitely Pike's got that basketball history there. And I'm not saying it started with Chris Thomas. It was good before that, but he definitely, it kind of for the next generation of players, like he was the guy that made Pike go. And they obviously won a lot of games and state championships in that era as well. But yeah, it was a cool scene last night in the game. Really, it was really exciting. It kind of, one of those Tuesday night games where it's kind of like, not the hugest crowd, and but then as the game went along, it was just like, man, this is just phenomenal theater. So yeah, went to overtime. Mount Vernon made a shot to put it into overtime, and then at the buzzer, and then Pike ends up winning in overtime. But Isaiah Hill played really well. He had 17 and 10. Jahari Miller, who's going to be a Division I guard for Pike, he's a junior. He had 27. Ertl had 26 and 11 assists. I mean, it was just you couldn't ask for a better, more entertaining game.
That sounds amazing because it's just, and that's how things have seemed to go lately in all of sports. I don't know if I'm just, having some rose-colored glasses on, but, college football has been phenomenal for 2 years now, college basketball, and it seems like that has trickled down even to high school for some reason, although the reasons are different. but we keep hearing about these great games, and it's more about the competition. Everybody is just raising up their level of play, and which makes everything better and a hell of a lot more fun.
Yeah, and Luke Ertl certainly did that last night. He didn't have a huge scoring game up until the fourth quarter, and he had 14 points in the fourth quarter alone, and just kind of put that team on his back. And I know there's other Mr. Basketball candidates out there. This seems like one of the more open and shut cases, and I hate to just say that, because there's other kids who deserve, Noah Smith, but particular from Plainfield, deserves to be in that mix. Dikembe Shaw from Crown Point, certainly. Dane Caldwell from Silver Creek.
Every year, Kyle, we know there are guys that we can say in any other year, this guy would have won Mr. Basketball.
Yeah, and this is, to be honest with you, this class is probably a little weaker and less depth to it than last year's class. Definitely last year's class, and there's been some great classes. 25 was one of the better classes and deeper classes. This one's not as deep, but you still have really great players at the top, and those guys deserve to be. When it comes down to the finalists, they will be in the mix for it. But man, you watch Ertl play, and it's just like he just got this. Even talking to some of the Pike players last night and Jeff Teague, it's like this guy is he's got something different about him, and he certainly put that on display last night. But when Mount Vernon needed a couple threes, he was there. I mean, when they needed a drive and assist, he was there. Now he did. Pike I thought did a really nice job defending him for the most part all night, but man, he still sort of ends up with the ball in his hands and making plays when they really need it. And they're not the most talented team around him, especially with Vice being out. I didn't know if he could carry him to a win, but yeah, he was phenomenal. Definitely lived up to the billing, and I think when all's said and done, he's probably going to be the Mr. Basketball winner. We'll see how it plays out, but after what he did last year in the tournament, it kind of put him on another level, I think, and he's carried that over with a different team this year that's really not as talented, but they've been even better. They're ranked going into last night. They're ranked third in 4A, and Pike was fourth. And you look at the two teams, and Pike's having a really great year, and they ended up beating them. But they're right there with Pike. I mean, that's pretty impressive, and it's largely, obviously, due to what Ertl's been doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. He's going to be a good one, and he's going to be fun to watch in college as well. But as we see Purdue, we'll talk. That's a whole other subject. But yeah, man. So what's next? You're so close to the sectional, but there are games yet to be played, but they really don't have any bearing on the tournament. So this is all for pride and conference championships right now.
Yeah, conference championships, and I usually this time of year try to see some different teams, that I haven't seen. Now, last night was not the case because I just wanted to see that game, and I'm glad I did. I mean, obviously that would have been stupid not to go to that game last night. But now I'm going to try to see. I've got Shortridge and University on deck for Friday, so looking forward to seeing that game. Shortridge is having a good year. IPS school that. They've got some good stuff going there. They have a tough sectional because they have Addicts and Cathedral in there with them, but they've really turned it around. They played Fishers to a 2-point game earlier this year, so they've been in the mix with some really good teams. So yeah, I'm just going to try to see some different teams. I'm actually helping out with our girls coverage and doing some things with that too. The girls are in the regional round this week, so had a chance to see Pike play last week, and I think they're going to be probably the team to beat in Class 4A in girls. So, but yeah, it's that time of year where I think we're a week and a half from the sectional draw. The 22nd, I believe, is the draw. So I'll be helping out with that show, sectional draw show this year. So that should be fun. But yeah, we're getting down to a week and a half away from the draw. That's probably what a lot of people are thinking about now is what's our draw going to look like.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because it has a great bearing. Any are they any closer to seeding in for IHSA basketball?
No, I don't.
Well, that puts that right to bed, baby.
No, No, and
it would almost be too hard because there's so many teams.
Yeah, the sport. I honestly, I know people want seeding and everything. To me, like if you're going to try seeding, do it in football, and then see how it looks. And I would say even just do 5A and 6A football for like 2 years and see what it looks like. See if it's something you could do for all, and just do it with football now. And not to get off on a tangent, but the IFCA had a pretty good proposal, I thought, put together a couple of years ago, and it didn't even get, and they had a large majority of the 6A coaches voting for it. I mean, almost unanimous. So, it's one of those things where I don't think the IHSA wants to open that door. And if you do it for one sport, they probably figure you have to do it for everybody. But, I don't see it happening, unfortunately. And I don't think it needs it in basketball. I'm not a big proponent of seeding in basketball, to be honest. I love sectional week. That to me, that's probably the most fun week of the season. So I'm probably speaking out of both sides of my mouth.
I'm a regional week guy.
Yeah, I like it too.
But I grew up getting to go, not playing in because I was a football player, not basketball, and you did not play both at Floyd back then. But it was a given that we were going to the regional to Seymour every year, and you couldn't wait. Packed all those people in there. I mean, gosh, dang it, that was Floyd Central, Bedford, North Lawrence. It's still great, and that's why I hate that sectional doesn't automatically go to that regional anymore. I hate it. It was just perfect. Loved it. But hey, your Tigers picked up Jason Verlander. Man, they had a good year, and so they're looking to play well again.
Yeah, JV's back, baby. I don't know. He's 43 years old, but he's it's good to have him back. It was a heartwarming when I was in a staff meeting and a guy next to me is like, "Hey, the Tigers got Verlander." I was like, "Oh, that kind of made a little pick me up." I don't know how good he'll be.
Kyle says I've got to go, guys.
Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm leaving on a high note, but yeah, it's cool. Unfortunately, they lost Reese Olson for the year, who's another really promising pitcher for him, but. It's good to have Verlander back, and I think a lot of people are happy about that.
I would say Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star, making sure you're following him, keeping up with all of his coverage. Appreciate you, my friend.
You bet. Thanks, Jim.
You bet. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
Indiana football accomplished what no other team ever has. Big Ten, Rose Bowl, Peach Bowl, and CFP national champions. The Hoosiers have etched their name into the history books as the first 16-0 team in the modern era. A limited edition of only 5,000 commemorative national championship footballs has been released. 3 full panels embossed and stamped with every championship logo and fully licensed. Get your piece of history today at NICOsports.com. That's NICOsports.com. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave and Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our all-new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch all your team's wins on a 40-foot screen and 30 HD TVs. And level all up with the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game. Private game suites, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave & Buster's on 731 South College Mall Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Wednesday. Glad to have you along. Hope all is going well for you. It's all downhill from here, so just hang on. It's not going to be that much longer till you hit the weekend yet again. Indiana basketball doesn't play all week, so they've got kind of a time to rest, recoup, and get ready. They've got a tough stretch coming up with games against Illinois, at Purdue, and at home against Michigan State, among others. Being joined now by the great Bill Bender from the Sporting News, our nation's oldest sporting publication. And Bill was not there like Mike was at the beginning, so I won't give you the grief that I give Mike. I always tell him, yeah, you've been there since the beginning, brother. But no, how's your week going, man?
Doing well, Jim. Thanks for having me on. We're through Super Bowl Sunday. This is probably one of my favorite times of the year at Sporting News because I back up Mike DeCourcy a little bit, help with our college basketball coverage where I can, get into some NFL Combine and still maintain the college football duties. I even wrote something about the Miracle on Ice a couple weeks ago. So I really enjoy this time of year. Because I can just kind of branch out and help wherever I can, especially, on the college basketball side. I mean, Jim, we talked all fall about Big Ten National Championship in football, and now you're starting to wonder, they're going to cut down that net too.
Who's that?
The Big Ten.
Oh, yeah. Well, you wonder. I mean, they've got several teams that are good at the top with Illinois. Well, Illinois and Michigan are the two teams that I think are truly capable of winning a national championship. I don't think that. I don't think Michigan State is. Partly because I don't know that you can count on Jeremy Fears to not be a jackass or a knucklehead, all the time, and you cannot have a single slip up in that area by him. The other team, Purdue, does not have a shot. Nebraska is intriguing to me because even though they lost last night to Purdue at home, boy, down 22, they were down 16 to Indiana in the second half. That ability to come out, that one dude, I can't remember his name. Merrick is his first name, Rustic or something. Dude can shoot. He's just a cold-blooded shooter. He looks like he doesn't belong on a basketball court, and he's cold-blooded.
They move the ball as well as anybody on the offensive side. Watch them play Michigan, watch them play Purdue. And like you said, there's something to be said. Yeah, you dug an early hole, but you get right back in that game. They're going to be a tough out in the tournament. I don't know if they can win a national title, but they're the type of team I wouldn't want to play just because of the way they move the ball. I think Michigan is a little – Michigan, Illinois, but this Michigan team's as good as they've been in a while. And I said, here's how I gauge them. They swept Michigan State at Breslin and Ohio State and Columbus. And I know this isn't a great Ohio State team, but they didn't just beat them. They demoralized them in Columbus on Sunday. They've got 8 or 9 guys that can put the ball in the basket. Dusty May's doing the things that he does. They're as good as anybody. And the NCAA basketball tournament's going to be a lot of fun. I did have a question for you, if you don't mind. Fernando's making the rounds. Whether it's Planet Fitness or we're starting to see a little more of his personality come out.
He's going to be a marketer's dream.
Is he Peyton Manning in terms of marketing? I'm not talking about on the field. Or are they going to be able to market him like a Peyton Manning because he's the guy next door?
Not quite. Yes. Primarily, yes. I don't think he has the comedic timing that Peyton has because
Peyton is a funny dude. The funniest thing ever, still to this day, is when he was on Saturday Night Live and they did that video of him throwing the ball to kids.
Oh yeah, that's great.
All I got to do is think about that, and I bust out laughing. But he's shown how funny he truly is, and of course he's gotten better, as we all do, or hopefully we all do at anything we do. But other than that, yes, because you're not going to have a scandal with him. He is a winner. He is just very positive, and when you have a positive aura like that, there's not much of a downfall. So people want to be around that. That attracts people. We see now how attractive it is. So he's going to be on just nothing but a bigger stage. The story is going to be quite the opposite, although he is going to another desperate team. Indiana wasn't quite desperate when he got there this time. But it will see him in a different. Plus, he's going to be in Las Vegas, Bill. I mean, he's going to be on stinking buildings everywhere. You're going to see him flying in on the plane. He's going to be next to the Tigers and all the magicians and everything else. And U2 might even see him in the dome they got out there, whatever that thing is.
Well, I laughed, when he said that Kurt Signetti locked him out and he had to go to Planet Fitness to work out. And then the next time I saw him on my feed, he was wearing a Planet Fitness pullover. So I was like, that was either strategic or just smart, and probably both. I think he was in the Manning Award availability a couple weeks ago. I jumped in on that, and just listening to his process-driven approach that he's going to take to the next level. I mean, now we have to be honest, going to the Raiders will not be easy. I mean, that's a franchise that's been stuck in the mud. I mean, explaining, having a 15-year-old son and explaining to him that, when I was growing up, the Raiders were like a frontline class organization, Super Bowls and commitment to excellence and all that. And that's been a downtrodden franchise for way longer than I've expected. So maybe Fernando's the guy to get in there, and obviously has a new coach.
Yeah, and a curious one too. The son of a coach, Gary Kubiak, the former coach, former player for the Seahawks, right? When he quarterback for the Seahawks.
Broncos for sure behind Elway. So Gary, we're talking about, right? Gary,
yeah.
He was one of the few. Gary won a Super Bowl as a coach, but didn't win it as a player because he was behind Elway in those years where they got stomped by the Niners. And
but
the
he
Giants.
Still got the rings, baby.
He still got, he was still there. So, obviously a good move for Fernando too, because Clint Kubiak is really good at, from what we've read and heard.
He was hot, man. He was a hot
coach. Exactly.
So, it'll be interesting. And it's what can they put around him? Because, man, you've got to be able to protect a young quarterback, because you can't learn if you're just running for your life every day.
Right. And this is, we look at this all the time. I mean, Sunday's a great example of quarterback development. When Sam Darnold was in college, you go back and look at his USC numbers, man, he was really good. He played in that Rose Bowl against Penn State, elevated that program at the time. And, you looked at him on Sunday, him and Drake May. I think Sam Darnold just didn't screw it up. Drake May was under a lot of pressure. He's a young quarterback. He needs to learn, right? Like they were a little ahead of schedule, and it showed. But I think Sam Darnold's a great example of the NFL where, he went to the Jets and the Jets were terrible. He went to the Panthers were terrible. I think the best thing for Sam Darnold's career was that year in San Francisco where he reset his career. And then he goes through Minnesota and obviously Seattle. I'm not saying that will be Fernando's path. I'm just saying, and this, and it kind of circles back to Peyton when he played for the Colts, there's going to be bumps out of the chute.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
People forget about the beginning.
Right.
But way back when he led the league in interceptions.
Right. And that Colts team was rough, but then you get another piece around him. You get a Marvin Harrison. He had Marshall Faulk to start, right? Like Peyton had Faulk when he was his first year, or did he not? Or did he already go to the Rams? I don't remember. I probably should have looked that up for. Yeah, was Faulk still with the Colts when he got there?
I think
I'm gonna.
so, but that's a great question.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
that's
that.
correct. Yeah, so he had him early, and then they get Edge. Then you get Marvin. Then you get Dallas Clark and the pieces around him. And I think Fernando, the advantage for him, you get there and you already have Ashton Genty. And I really like Ashton Genty. You're going to need to get you have Brock Bowers. You have a good piece there. You have one of the best tight ends in the NFL already. And so, like, when you surround him with some receivers and some good, they got to hold on to Max Crosby if they can. It sounds like Max Crosby wants out, but that like I said, you brought up a good point. Peyton, it started out rough, but when you get the foundational pieces around a really good quarterback, it can happen. I'm not saying Fernando Mendoza is the next Peyton Manning. I'm just saying with quarterback development, you've got to surround him with the right pieces.
Well, and there's no one that knows that any better than Tom Brady, because it was the same deal for them. New England was okay, though, when he got there. They had a good quarterback who just happened to get hurt. But they still built and built and built. And, boy, they kept building and kept building. But he knows the value of that, and he's going to have him in his ear. Not to get off this subject, but what about Tom Brady being an announcer and an owner when he has this much? Normally, a minority owner, they're off in their bungalow in South Florida, whatever. Tom Brady is actively involved, obviously actively involved with the draft picks, so that makes him in with the GM, actively involved with every single aspect of this team. It's real shady that he can sit in all these meetings, because if, for the people who don't know, every game that they do, they sit in meetings with the coaches, certain players, and study certain things. Well, Tom Brady is an owner of a team, so that is great information for him to have.
And as we go on, if the Raiders start to improve, that's going to become something that we really question. I think it should be questioned a little bit, obviously, with his involvement, because I would assume that Tom Brady would be in Fernando Mendoza's ear. Your comment there, physically, Mendoza does kind of look like Tom Brady. The tall build, the way that he throws the football, he gets it out. He's very accurate. And you and I are old enough to remember the Tom Brady in college. I always tell people it's a bit of a myth that Tom Brady wasn't a good college quarterback. I think some of it is his first two starts were Notre Dame and Syracuse. They lost both, and Donovan McNabb came into the big house and lit them up. And then he did split time with Drew Henson. I understand that. But you go back and look at Tom Brady, beat Ohio State, that Alabama Orange Bowl. He was a good college quarterback. He fit well with what New England was going to do. And I think Fernando, there's some ties there. But to answer your question, long-winded way of doing it was, the NFL is probably going to need to look into that at some point. And I don't know how you feel about Tom.
Well, they already are. I mean, there's already people talking about it.
Do you think Tom's good in the booth?
Yeah. I mean, how do you not take that kind of experience? But at the same time, it's like, dude, you're actively involved here. You're not just a deal. And so there's already talk about that, but it is what it is. So we'll see. Speaking of the combine, are you coming in for the combine?
I'm not as of now, but we'll be is that in 2 weeks? Are we, as of now, no, but I do keep an eye on it and watch and overreact.
I was hoping you would, man.
I know I was hoping to be.
Well, I'm planning on being up there and doing the show from up there. So
I'll let you know if plans change. Yeah,
there'll be a ton of, and there's so many. There will be a ton of Indiana guys. Not that draws you, but there's just going to be a ton of Big Ten guys there, which is great, and just a ton of interesting stories to meet. I wish that I sure wish Diego Pavia was going to be there. That would be that. What's the combine likely going to be like for him when he gets to that point?
I think Diego, so with quarterbacks, especially this year's quarterback class, when you have a clear-cut leader like Fernando that everybody assumes is going to go number one, you start to, okay, who's next? And Diego becomes the most interesting quarterback, and obviously we're going to talk about his height, 5'10", 5'11", whatever. It's not 6 foot, obviously. And then, the last memory of him, what's the last impression? It's how he lashed out at Heisman Trophy voters and then went in the bowl game, and Iowa really took it to him. So he will have some questions to answer. I've always thought Diego Pavia was a day 2, maybe day 3 guy. It's going to be really interesting to watch in the preseason, see if he can stick as a backup. And then, you'll see him in a week 15 early next season maybe, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, there he is. And he's starting for somebody late in the season. So it is very important for him because I think he has to answer those questions. He was Sporting News, All-American quarterback and all that. And, I had a chance to talk to him, but he didn't answer the questions about lashing out at the Heisman ceremony. He kind of ducked that. At some point, he's going to have to do that publicly, right? Where he's going to have to say this happened and here's why, because the NFL GMs are going to ask him those questions.
Yeah, I mean, not only do you have to worry about him if you're an NFL GM, it's his brother already that you got to deal with, and so yeah, he's not doing himself any favors in that category. But hey, let's take a quick break. I've got the great Bill Bender with us from the Sporting News. I hope your week has started off well. It's Wednesday. It's all downhill from here. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle right after these messages.
Dave & Buster's Bloomington is the place to eat, drink, play, and watch. Enjoy half-price games Sunday through Thursday, plus a new menu and next-level upgrades like private game suites and the high-flying human crane. Only at Dave & Buster's Bloomington on South College Mall Road.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
You're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area? You need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave & Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch your teams on the big screen and level it all up with the high-flying human crane. Private game suites and more, only at 731 South College Mall Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you as always, joined by Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Bill, Kansas took down the Giant without their best player, who has been very inconsistent with his ability to stay on the floor, which is a big concern because this is the guy who's probably #1 in the upcoming NBA draft. In Darren Peterson, but wow, Kansas does it without him. Big for them. But Arizona still, along with Michigan, probably the 2 best teams going right now, which doesn't mean anything. Anybody can get beat on any given day, but it's fun to see some Giants up there. But I still think that there are several different teams that can win this title. Of course, there always are. Are there more teams that can win the title this year or less?
Well, okay. So you said in the last segment, let's operate on you and I agreeing that Purdue maybe can't win it all. Purdue's a really good team, but Not sure that
I
they're
guarantee you Purdue cannot win it all.
Okay, so if that's the line looking at our bracketology, I would say everybody on the 1, 2, and 3 seed line could win it with we talked about Nebraska earlier, and Kansas is our last number 3 right now, but bound to move up after that Arizona win. Kansas absolutely can win it all. I don't know where Darren Peterson fits into that equation. So now I'm looking at, okay, anybody below our 3 seed line that could possibly win it all. And the only team, and I love them more than anybody, like I love St. John's more than Ken Palm does or Net does because I trust Rick Pitino.
I was just getting ready to say, Ken Palm does not count having Rick Pitino on the sideline.
No, they don't. And they don't like the Big East teams, but the 2 Big East teams that I think are capable of winning it all are UConn and St. John's. It's just hard to gauge when they're playing against Big East teams every night and you're not in that Big Ten grinder or in that ACC grinder. And the ACC is better this year. So you take it all the way down to a team like, could North Carolina feasibly make a run? When I do that bracketology, and I know Mike does it too, I tend to overvalue St. John's, and I have hard time seeding the Big Ten teams because I'm watching them more. Like Iowa, I probably had underseeded last week. I may have overseeded this week. Indiana, same deal. Like I have a hard time seeding them in. And right now I have Ohio State as the first team out simply because they're 0-7 against the quad 1. Was that Indiana? It was North Carolina where we had this considerable debate last year about
North Carolina, and they only got in because Bubba Cunningham, their AD, was the chairman of the damn board, and he got a bonus for them making it in the tournament.
Well, and I think Doug Gottlieb had a point about I use what I do when my methodology for doing the bracket prediction is kind of you look at Ken Palm, you look at Net, you kind of combine the 2 numbers and then average it out, and okay, this is where they should be. But for the committee sees this team as like 45. And then you make some judgment calls. Like they do overvalue quad 1. I really believe that. And what I don't like is if let's say you have a bad night and you lose against quad 3, that's college basketball, right? Like you're going to have an off night and that's what makes it special. So are we going to downgrade Iowa State because they lost to TCU or Gonzaga because they lost to Portland? I think we overvalue that a little bit when you just see a number versus, like you said, you don't account for some of the things on the sideline.
Yeah, you guys have Indiana as a 10 seed, which I agree with. That's where I think they'll probably end up unless they're able to beat Michigan State at home or, one of the other 2 big games, Illinois or Purdue. I don't expect them to win those games. They're on the road. But that's the only way I see them moving up is with a win over Michigan State at home.
Would you put them ahead of UCLA? Indiana?
Me personally, I would, because I think that they're better. They going to UCLA and winning that showed a lot to me, and they could have beat USC and would have swept those 2 teams. But yeah, I would, because I think that they're just a tick more consistent. And I think that they've earned it with that head-to-head win. But there's probably going to be other cases where they're head-to-head wins, and I'm saying the opposite because of a different situation. But their metrics numbers have just been unbelievable this year because that is a problem that they fought with so much over the last couple of years. Their metrics numbers sucked. But now Ken Palm, they're 35th. They're 33rd in the net. That's pretty damn.
That's a 9 seed, right? Like, so you could flip UCLA and Indiana and put them in a 9. And I'm not going to, I think I had that internal debate when I was putting this together this week. And then you have Wisconsin there and then USC a line down. So that's that clump of teams. Iowa's really interesting to me over the next couple of weeks because they have some tough games and they're pretty good. Like I had, like I said, underseeded them. Bennett Sturt's pretty good. He's that kind of guy that, again, somebody in the tournament, I don't know if you want to see him if he gets hot, guy that can take over a game, much like Wally Zerbiak, who the lone unbeaten. Now I got to sneak in a MAC reference. The lone unbeaten team in the country is Miami, and they're playing they're going to be, what are they? They're 22-0 or 23-0. I keep joking they're going to be 23-1 after they see my Bobcats on Friday night, but we'll see.
So that's the one thing. Can you judge Miami? And I'm not discounting them.
How well can they truly be judged against these other teams? Basketball, to me, it's easier because teams, it's much wider spread, the possibility of teams being good.
Well, there's two in my lifetime. I think this is true. There's only been 2 MAC teams really bust through. No, there's been a couple that made the Sweet 16, but the 2 that stand out to me most were the Ohio Bobcats in 13. They beat Michigan, they beat South Florida, and they took North Carolina to the wire. And the other one, Indiana saw. Kent State goes to the Elite Eight, plays Indiana. I know exactly where I was watching that game because that Kent State team had built that up over time. They had Antonio Gates pulling down rebounds. They had Trevor Huffman. They had basically the perfect team to make a run. So I don't think Miami's that. And then that Miami team that went to the Sweet 16 with Wally, they had Wally, right? So Wally scored. He scored 43 points in a tournament game against Washington. So he literally, I remember he was the one MAC guy where I said he's literally carrying them to victory, like in this tournament game. So we'll see if Miami can make a run. They'll certainly be, I'm not downgrading anything they've done this year. They're a really good basketball team. And there's a limit to nice things that I can say about Miami of Ohio being an Ohio University grad. But
you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, it's funny. I will say this: when I went to OU, Mike, I had enough friends in high school that went to Miami, so I didn't have that I can't stand them. I was down there too. But it was like Kent State and Akron. We had those rivalries with them. It's like I still to this day, I was like, I can't do Kent. My wife went to Kent State, and I don't like their basketball team.
That brings up a question. I was talking about this earlier with North Dakota State moving to Division I FBS. Are these teams hurting themselves by continuing to move into a neighborhood that they basically cannot afford to live in?
We'll see. I think so. Marshall moved into that neighborhood when I was in college. They went from
but it was a different era then.
That was a different era,
a whole different time.
And they had a guy named Randy Moss that helped him make that transition. That wasn't too bad. App State's made that transition somewhat successfully. But to your point, let's look at App. App comes into the FBS a couple years after beating Michigan, well-established FCS power at the time, and now they're, if we're being honest about it, kind of a middle-of-the-road Sun Belt team. I watched their bowl game they were in a nondescript bowl game last year. But it's not to say the program isn't good. It's just different. It's a different identity now. I do think North Dakota State steps into the Mountain West Conference, creates an immediate rivalry with Boise State, and I'm looking forward to that. And if you watch the Super Bowl, 13 players from the FCS were in the Super Bowl this year. That's a high number. And 9 of them were playing for Seattle, and they were guys from that corner of the country, Jim. It doesn't get the pub for the Montana and South Dakota State and Eastern Washington. That's good FCS football in that corner of the country. We're just going to have to find out fiscally, financially, like you just said, can they live in this neighborhood where, Indiana's learning how to live in this neighborhood now, coming off a national title, and how much you have to spend to maintain that.
Yeah, and I love the football. I talked about it earlier. I go South Dakota State, North Dakota State. Always fun. Always, man. They are just electric teams at their level, and they were championship teams at that level. But they're no longer going to get to experience that. And we're seeing bowl games go away, as was kind of expected. I call it the quick lane bowl. I know it was something else now in Detroit. Goes away, but I'm like, is anybody going to notice? These are the bowl games that no one really wanted to go to.
Well, I'll notice because I had them on the TV when I was wrapping presents. I always watched I think it was the Game Above Sports Bowl is what we were at, and then we lost the LA Bowl.
As long as you don't use the Duke's Mayo Bowl and the Pop-Tarts Bowl,
right.
And the Gasparillo Wild Cherry.
You know what? we always used to play is this a real bowl game, a fake bowl name, or a defunct bowl name? I always enjoyed doing that because you and I are old enough to remember the Blue Bonnet Bowl.
I was just going to say the Blue Bonnet Bowl.
So
I know a guy that was quarterback he went from my high school as one of our teachers, was the quarterback in their last bowl win, I think. And that was, I have to look that up, but yeah.
Well, so I think, Jim, that we're going to get back to the point where and I've thought this for a while, maybe we get back to there's like 25 bowl games instead of 40. And I think that would be good because then you create the Polian Weeder. That one I think is real.
It is.
But the way that like I was saying, that you get into where the matchups are good, where if you're not watching a playoff game, you're watching BYU and Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Really good bowl game. You're watching Michigan and Texas. People were watching that. They were definitely watching those games. And then if you're a group of G6 school, there were still some good games. I mean, I watched Toledo play Louisville all the way through. And, some of the New Mexico, Minnesota was a good bowl game. So I'm okay with that. But again, I'm at an age where my senior year of college was the first year, or either the junior or senior year was the first year where the MAC had 2 bowl bids. And it was a big deal because they used to go to the Raisin Bowl. The California Raisin Bowl was a very real bowl. So, but now, do we need 6 MAC schools in a bowl game? Sure, for those purposes, but it probably should be around 4.
1987 was the last Blue Bonnet Bowl. Yeah, sounds about right. Lee Miller played quarterback at Western Kentucky. Was that Floyd Central, my high school. So,
nice.
Yeah, fun times. What's up next for you, brother?
I'll be doing some, college basketball. Obviously, we've talked about that. I've got later this week, I ranked the Winter Olympics movies. So they've got me doing that this week. That was because I'm kind of a sports movie
What's
guy.
number 1?
Well, come on. Well,
the hockey.
Yeah. Well, so I'll let your listeners debate this in the comments section. But what do you pick between Cool Runnings? Do you take the Jamaican bobsled team or the U.S. men's hockey team? Both Disney movies, both good ones.
Please.
After that, the pickings get a little slim. Eddie the Eagle was a good movie. I watched that last week.
Eddie the Eagle. I forgot about that, man. Where was he from?
Britain, United Kingdom, Great Britain, and he was a ski jumper. And that movie, it's a good movie.
Do they have any skiing in all of Great Britain?
It's an awesome movie. It was a lot of fun. So it's like, I think the line I use is kind of like choose your inspiration. A lot of people are into curling right now, Jim. I'm going to be honest. I'm not. It's fine. It's not like something I'm going to get over the top about, but it's fine.
It's shuffleboard on ice. Who are we kidding here? Come on.
I was trying to be politically correct.
No way. It's shuffleboard on ice. Baloney. It's funny to watch those guys sweep.
For sure.
I remember as a kid, I'm going, what the hell are they doing? Right. But appreciate you as always, man. Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Make sure you're giving him a follow, keeping up with all of his great content there at the Sporting News. It is always great stuff. Appreciate you, sir.
Hey, no problem. Thanks so much for having me on. Take care.
You're a pleasure, buddy. Hey, thanks to each and every one of you. Without you, can't be here. Thanks to Dylan Sinn and Cal Neddenriep, of course. We're back tomorrow to do this all again. And hopefully you'll be around to join us. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I'll see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.